Abhinay Prabhu.
Sure, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Uh, those who are cultivating spiritual life and executing devotional service are always engaged in activity. Such activity can be performed with the body or with the mind. Thinking, feeling, and willing are all activities of the mind. And when we will to do something, the activity comes to be manifest by the cross bodily senses. Thus, in our mental activities, we should always try to think of Krishna and try to plan how to please him, following in the footsteps of the great acharyas and the personal spiritual master. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thanks. Hare Krishna. Manuvitya Mataji, next paragraph. Similarly,
Similarly, we can offer many services with our bodily activities, but all such activities must be in relationship with Krishna. This relationship is established by connecting oneself with the bona fide spiritual master, who is the direct representative of Krishna in disciple succession. Therefore, the execution of Krishna consciousness activities with the body should be directed by the spiritual master and then performed with faith. The connection with the spiritual master is called initiation. From the date of initiation by the spiritual master, the connection between Krishna and a person cultivating Krishna consciousness is established. Without initiation by a bona fide spiritual master, the actual connection with Krishna consciousness is never performed. From nectar of devotion in direction.
thank you, Mataji. Mathan Prabhu, from here in this Krishna consciousness.
In this Krishna consciousness movement, a chance is given to everyone without discrimination of caste, creed, or color. Everyone is invited to join this movement, sit with us, take prasada, and hear about Krishna. When we see that someone is actually interested in Krishna consciousness and wants to be initiated, we accept him as a disciple for the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. When a neophyte devotee is actually initiated and engaged in devotional service by others of the spiritual master, he should be accepted immediately as a bona fide Vaishnava, and obeisances should be offered unto him. Out of many such Vaishnavas, one may be found to be very seriously engaged in the service of the Lord and strictly following all the regulative principles, chanting the prescribed number of rounds on japa beads, and always thinking of how to expand the Krishna consciousness movement. Such a Vaishnava should be accepted as an Uttama Adhikari, a highly advanced devotee, and his association should always be sought. The process by which a devotee becomes attached to Krishna is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita Andhya 4.192. Diksha Hale Bhakta Hare Atma Samarpana Sai Hale Krishna Dhare Hare Atma Sama. At the time of initiation, when a devotee fully surrenders to the service of the Lord, Krishna accepts him to be as good as himself. Diksha or spiritual initiation is explained in the Bhakti Sandarbha 868 by Srila Jiva Goswami. Divyam Jnanam Yado Datyat Kuryat Papasya Sangsayam Tasmat Tiksedi Sa Prakta Desi Haisi Tattva Pavidai. Diksha is the process by which one can awaken his spiritual knowledge and vanquish all reactions caused by sinful activity. A person expert in the study of revealed scriptures knows this process as Diksha.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Direction.
Anyone else like to read? Remaining by Diksha one gradually from here. Puja Mataji, you want to read? Okay.
Yeah, I I can read.
Yeah. Yes, Madhya.
Diksha is the process by which one can awaken his transcendental knowledge and vanquish all reactions caused by sinful activity. A person expert in the study of the revealed scriptures knows this process as Diksha. By Diksha, one gradually becomes disinterested in material enjoyment and gradually becomes interested in spiritual life. We have seen many practical examples of this, especially in Europe and America. Many students who come to us from rich and respectable families quickly lost all interest in material enjoyment and become very eager to enter into spiritual life. Although they come from very wealthy families, many of them accept living conditions that are not very comfortable. Indeed, for Krishna's sake, they are prepared to accept any living condition as long as they can live in the temple and associate with the Vaishnavas. When one becomes so disinterested in material enjoyment, he becomes fit for initiation by the spiritual master. For the advancement of spiritual life, Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.13 prescribes tapsa brahmacharena samena cha damena cha. When a person is serious about accepting Diksha, he must be prepared to practice austerity, celibacy, and control of the mind and body. If one is so prepared and is desirous of receiving spiritual enlightenment, Divyam Janmam, he is
Fit for being
fit
initiated.
for being initiated. Divyam Jananam Jananam is technically called Tad Vijayana. Tadvijanana, or knowledge about the Supreme Tadvijananartham Sa Guram Ivabhigachet. When one is interested in the transcendental subject matter of the absolute truth, he should be initiated. Such a person should approach a spiritual master in order to take Diksha. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.3.21 also prescribes Tasmad Gurum Prapadete Jijnashu Jijnasu Shreya Uttamam. Uttamam. When one is actually interested in the transcendental science of the absolute truth, he should approach a spiritual master. One should not accept a spiritual master without following his instructions. Nor should one accept a spiritual master just to make a fashionable show of or spiritual life. One must be jijnasu, very much inquisitive to learn from the bona fide spiritual master. The inquiries one makes should strictly pertain to transcendental science. Jijnasu Shreya Uttamam. The word Uttamam refers to that which is above material knowledge. Tama means the darkness of the material world, and Ut means transcendental. Generally, people are very interested in inquiring about mundane subject matters. But when one has lost such interest and is simply interested in transcendental subject matters, he is quite fit for being initiated. From Nectar of Instructions, text 5. What about we always
That's fine, Madhya. So,
uh,
so thanks for reading. So in last sessions, like we understood how to approach a spiritual master, or the qualities of a spiritual master. In this session, we are talking about initiation or diksha, which is a way by which a formal connection with a spiritual master is made. So in the last sessions, we understood as well that what are the qualities of a spiritual master, and even spiritual master should test his disciple to see that he is really inclined to make a spiritual progress. So like we have heard the stories of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj and about Narottam Das Thakur, that how their spiritual master tested that whether they really want to make progress in this life of Krishna consciousness, and whether they are really inquisitive and inclined to make progress in this direction. And once they understood the um, inclination of their disciples, then they agreed to give initiation to the disciples. So um, the subject matter with which a spiritual master deals is completely different from the material subject matter. If someone has inquiries on some material subject matter, how to grow his business, how to earn more money, then for these kind of question, he should not go to a spiritual master. If he really has some spiritual inclination, spiritual queries, for that a spiritual master is needed. So how to earn money and how to make your livelihood, those all things anyways by the law of karma, whatever you have done in your past hundred life, those are already being predestined, what how much wealth you are going to earn. So a spiritual master is not going to guide you on those areas. Anyways, by the law of karma, those all situation will come into your life and you will tread into that particular path. But if but devotional service is something which is not written in one's destiny. It is a matter of free will. So if free will, some free will means that one has to make an extra endeavor to progress into that direction. So if one makes this inquiry that maybe if I'll become a businessman, I will earn a lot of wealth, then also what? Maybe after earning a lot of wealth, I will enjoy it for maybe next 20, 30 years. But then what will happen afterward? When I will die, then what kind of body I am going to get? What is going to happen? Or what am I before my this birth? So these are all spiritual subject matter. If someone has these inquiries that why I am again and again taking birth and dying, what is happening after that, how to break open this cycle, then these kind of queries are fit queries to be raised to spiritual master. And if one has this uh, inclination to understand his spiritual nature, then he should understand, then he should approach a spiritual master. So those who are cultivating spiritual life and executing devotional services are always engaged in activities. Such activity can be performed with the body or the mind. So one should not think that uh, the spiritual activities or devotional activities cannot be performed with mind. It can be performed with mind as well, which is known as manas seva or manasi seva. So sometimes it may happen that the situation are not favorable for us. We may be stuck very much in the hard struggle of existence that physically we may not be in position to perform any devotional services. But in that case as well, one should always think of devotional services. One should think of performing devotional services. One may not be able to preach right now, but one should think of that, okay, going on, moving onward, I will read some books. I will preach this message of Krishna consciousness to others. Maybe right now I'm not able to understand anything, but I will read it, I will go through it more deeper. Right now I may not be able to chant, but I will chant surely in the future. So somehow or the other he should plan for it, he should think of it. There is a nice story about this given in scripture that once there was a very poor Brahman. He was not having any mean to offer anything to Lord, but he was very much desirous of offering nice services to the Lord, prepare nice bhoga for the Lord and offer it to the Lord. And once during a Srimad Bhagavatam discourse, he heard from a saintly devotee that in case one is not in situation to perform anything physically, then he can do some services mentally as well. And by this thought, he became very happy. He goes to forest, and in forest he start meditating. That he was always having a desire to prepare chappan bhog for the Lord, always serve these items nicely to the Lord. And daily, after finishing his morning duties, after taking bath, he will go to forest and meditate that how he's preparing all these chappan bhogas, how he's nicely feeding it to the Lord, because physically he was not having any um, resources to perform this, but mentally he was thinking. And this process goes on again and again, again and again, daily, like he was to his heart desire, he was preparing as opulent dishes as possible for the Lord and offering it to the Lord. So once in the meditation, um, he was thinking that, oh, I'm let me prepare a very nice kheer with so many dry fruits for the Lord. And he was preparing very nice kheer for the Lord. And he prepared it very nicely with he uh, used milk, rice, condensed it, used all the dry fruits, um, and then was stirring it continuously. And then with the proper consistency of kheer, he added sugar, and he prepared it very nicely, and then he offered it to the Lord. But suddenly he realized that, oh, I have given it to the Lord, but it may be very hot. Let me check it. So he just touched the utensils with his finger that whether this kheer is really very hot to be taken up by the Lord. And his finger got burned and his meditation got broken, and he saw that really his finger become red. So that means that the offering that he is making, he was in the deep devotion. He was actually offering these to the Lord. And there in Vaikuntha Lokha, Lakshmi Devi, she saw that Vishnuji is smiling, Krishna is smiling. And she inquired that why are you smiling? So he told that now it's time for me to now the devotional services of my this disciple has become perfect. Now it's time for him to actually perform it in my association. So that's why I'm laughing that I'm sending now my um, Vishnuyan to bring him up. And then suddenly that the chariot of Lord Vishnu appeared there, and this Brahmana he sat on that chariot and he returned back home, back to Godhead to perform the service eternally. That is to actually engage in the service. So just by mentally doing this service nicely, he pleased the Lord. What to speak about physically doing it? Similarly, we have a story in one of the scriptures about a rat. A rat was very much accustomed of eating ghee from the ghee wick that is offered in the temple to the Lord. So whenever any ghee wick uh, get extinguished, that rat will go and start eating the ghee which is left in um, that wick. So once it so happened that a wick has just recently got extinguished, and that rat started eating it, but the fire was not completely extinguished. And it so happened that just because of his pushing of that wick again caught fire because of being exposed to air, and that wick got um, stuck in the teeth of that rat. And because the wick is burning and it is stuck in the mouth of that rat, so rat has started jumping up and down because of the heatness that he's getting from that wick, the fire. And he started jumping with that wick, and because it is continuously burning, he got burned. His mouth got completely burned and he died. But the Lord accepted that this person, this rat, even though this soul has now taken this body of a rat, but he's offering me devotional services. He's offering me this wick, burning wick, and he's rotating up and down. So he's offering me wick, and just for that devotional services, Lord sent his um, chariot to bring his soul back to him. So the point is that Lord is all ready to accept our devotional services, and we are stuck in this material. We're trying to do something or the other for some years, trying to enjoy these senses, and then again being lost into oblivion, again being burned or buried, and then again become the same soil. But Lord, because we all have come from a spiritual world, Lord is always ready, whether you do some mental service to the Lord or if possible do some physical services to the Lord. Lord is ready to accept it. And for that purpose only he is coming again and again. He came as Lord Krishna, he came as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just some 500 years ago. And he is always sending his representatives, his associates as a spiritual master. And the purpose of those spiritual master is not to acquire any wealth or not to do anything. Some of these spiritual masters, if you see, are born in a very wealthy family. And then they accept this life of a brahmachari, sannyasi, and an initiating a spiritual master just to deliver all of us from this clutches of birth, old age, disease, and death. So they don't have any other purpose, but one purpose to again reunite us back with Krishna. So we can offer many services with our bodily activities, but all such activities must be in relationship with Krishna. This relationship is established by connecting oneself with a bona fide spiritual master who is a direct representative of Krishna and its disciplic succession. Because the spiritual master guides that what can be done, what cannot be done. So many times we see people have this tendency to offer bhoga to the Lord, but they don't even know that what can be offered to Lord and what cannot. So a spiritual master tell them that okay, you can offer pure vegetarian food stuff which is not containing onion and garlic, prepared with love, with all purity, and then you can offer it to the Lord. So a spiritual master is one who is a guide to you to make your eternal connection back again with Krishna. Without knowing that, some people even while eating non-vegetarian food stuff as well, they think that they're offering it to Lord, and which is very offensive. So therefore, the execution of Krishna conscious activities with the body should be directed by the spiritual master and then perform with faith. So because right now we are not in position to actually hear from super soul. In all our hearts, along with soul, there is a super soul which is none other than Krishna, is a direct expansion of Krishna. But we are not purified enough to hear what Super Soul is saying. So that's why we need a via media. And this spiritual master is a transparent via media to guide us that what activities we should be performing. So for Arjuna, Krishna was there to personally guide him. But for us, Krishna is not personally here. We have a spiritual master who is personally here. And a spiritual master can guide us that what we should do. Um, so a spiritual master knows in and out, like he knows what is our mental condition, uh, and then he can guide as per our circumstances. So we can see so many letters from Srila Prabhupada to his disciples, and we could see that Srila Prabhupada, because he knew the mental condition of his disciples, he is guiding as per the time, place, circumstances. To someone who cannot at all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he was directing that okay, maybe you can chant 4 rounds in the morning, 4 rounds before lunch, 4 rounds before dinner. And someone he understand that has a lot of potential, to them he's saying that oh, you just wake up 3:30 in the morning and then do Mangal Aarti and then do chanting. So, as per the situation of a disciple, he could understand. And to some disciples, he's saying that you go to this particular place, you establish a temple, you expand this Krishna conscious movement by this way. To some, he's asking that you take sannyas. So, as per the condition of a spiritual master, he's guiding. So, as per the condition of a disciple, he's guiding. So, so that's why spiritual master is very much needed. He understand that what in what circumstances we are in, what is the capabilities that we are having, how much Krishna consciousness we can perform at this point of time, and then he can give guidance accordingly. So so that's why one should always inquire from a spiritual master that whether he can do this or he should not do this. And if a spiritual master agrees or a spiritual master um, gives the direction, then he can do it very easily. Then those devotional services become very easy. And being sanctioned by his spiritual master, there you can say sanctioned by Krishna as well. And then Krishna helps you in performing of those devotional services. So the connection with the spiritual master is called initiation. From the date of initiation by the spiritual master, the connection between Krishna and a person cultivating Krishna consciousness is established. Without initiation by a bona fide spiritual master, the actual connection with Krishna consciousness is never performed. So now many of you may get bewildered that how from the date of initiation this connection established. I may be doing some devotional services from so long. How Krishna will know that my initiation has already happened or not? But one should understand that Krishna is not a normal living entity. He is present in an atom and the spaces between atom. He's present in soul of everyone. He's directly in touch with the spiritual master. So spiritual master, if he's initiating a person even directly in front of him or via letter or via an online medium, in any way, Krishna is aware that now the connection is established. And then, because the connection is established, now whatever spiritual activities that he is doing are, you can say, are directly reaching Krishna. So now, for example, he's offering any bhoga, then definitely because he's offering it to his spiritual master, definitely it is reaching Krishna. So in this Krishna conscious movement, a chance is given to everyone without discrimination of caste, creed, or color. Everyone is invited to join this movement, sit with us, take prasad, and hear about Krishna. So, like we discuss, apavitram pavitram, right? In any state of life, one is being born. Any kind of consciousness that he is having right now, everyone is invited. Everyone can be elevated. So either one become uh, elevated from the birth itself by performance of Garbhadan Sanskar, by performance of different Sanskar, one's consciousness can be elevated. If that is not done, then also just by this process of devotional services, everyone's consciousness can be brought to a level where he can be in direct touch with Krishna. So when we see that if someone is actually interested in Krishna consciousness and wants to be initiated, we accept him as disciple for chanting the holy name of the Lord. When a neophyte devotee is actually initiated and engaged in the devotional services by the order of his spiritual master, he should be accepted immediately as a bona fide Vaishnava, and obeisances should be offered to him. Out of many such Vaishnava, one may be found to be very seriously engaged in the service of Lord and strictly following all regulative principle, chanting the prescribed number of round on japa beats and always thinking of how to expand this Krishna conscious movement. Such a Vaishnava should be accepted as Uttamadhikari, a highly advanced devotee, and his association should always be sought. So someone has inquired from Srila Prabhupada that how many pure devotees we have in this material world. And then Srila Prabhupada replied back that how many devotees we have connected with ISKCON. So that means is that any devotee who has now come into this Krishna consciousness um, has potency to become a pure devotee of the Lord. If you follow the four regulative principles, that is, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, then he will become pure devotee automatically. So one may question that why these rules and regulations are important. So the point is that a soul is anyways pure because we are all part and parcel of Krishna. If we keep it in an impure state, if we engage in intoxication, in meat eating, in illicit sex, in gambling, then automatically, because soul's constitutional position is to become a completely pure. If you break any of these regulative principles, that means you are unnecessarily uh, trying to make it impure, and then you cannot be satisfied. So we'll see so many people are committing suicide. Their mind are completely restless. The point is this: they may have acquired a lot of wealth, everything, but because of not being pure, because of breaking the regulative principle, their mind become completely restless because soul need to be in completely clean state. If you all remain completely clean, then there is a different mellow that you will all relish. Automatically you will feel bliss, automatically you will feel happy if you are clean. Clean means you're not breaking any regulative principle, you're not having any illicit sex with any person, or you're not intoxicating, you're not even thinking bad about some person. Automatically you will feel a pleasure out of you because soul is in cleaner state, because soul by its constitutional position is a part and parcel of Krishna, and is completely pure. But if we make our consciousness impure by breaking any of these regulative principle, then we cannot uh, think of progress on this path, because as soon as we make it impure by breaking or any of these regulative principle, then the soul gets covered by this false ego. So if someone will engage in this illicit activity even in mind, then automatically that means he start to enjoy his body, and then that means that he start considering himself as this body. So false ego cover his soul, and he start thinking himself as this body. And if he start thinking himself as his body, then whatever activity he is doing is just for the benefit of this body. He may just think of, maybe I'll make some money, I'll give a comfortable house to this body, I may give some nice food stuff to this body, but he cannot think beyond this. That this body, whatever nice food stuff you will give, no, whatever nice shade you will give, it will become diseased, it will die in some time. So he cannot think beyond that. That's why it's very important not to break any regulative principle. And Krishna is telling us that a very golden rule, that as soon as when he, so at the very first moment itself, you should cut out. So even at the very first moment, you should not even entertain a thought of breaking any of these regulative principle. And that power you can derive only by chanting of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If you don't chant that, even though you try want to control your mind, it's not in your control. So you should chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra 16 round, and then you will get enough strength to stop your mind from wandering in different direction, or to break this regulative principle, and then you can start realizing your own self. So this knowledge is known as transcendental knowledge. Why transcendental knowledge? Because this knowledge cannot be grasped by your senses. It's not that I will tell you to read this book and you know everything about yourself. No, this knowledge is a realized knowledge. If you become pure, you you are chanting Hare Krishna mantra 16 round, you are following four regulative principles, then automatically you will realize this knowledge. Realized knowledge is just like tasting a mango. I may tell you that, oh, this mango is very sweet, it tastes like this and that, but until and unless you will not taste that mango, you will not realize that how it tastes. So same is the case, until and unless you will not realize it by yourself. How may hard I may tell you that you're not this body, your soul. Soul has this pleasure automatically coming out of it. Atmarama, there is no external pleasure that is needed, but you have to be in that state. But until and unless you don't realize it, you don't practice it, you will not realize it. So in this Krishna conscious movement, everyone is, a chance is given to everyone without discrimination. When we see that someone is actually interested in Krishna consciousness and wants to be initiated, we accept it as disciple for chanting of the holy name of the Lord. And when a um neophyte devotee as well is actually initiated and engaged in devotional service by the order of his spiritual master, he should be accepted immediately as a bona fide Vaishnava, and obeisance should be offered onto him. So definitely at the starting stage, everyone is a neophyte. They don't have much realization. They consider themselves this body. But then also, because he has a faith on Krishna, he has a faith on his spiritual master, and he's sincerely trying to follow the orders of the spiritual master, he should be accepted as a bona fide Vaishnava, and we should offer all respect to him. And then out of all these Vaishnava, one who is really thinking how to expand this Krishna conscious movement. So like out of all the disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, he could understand that there are few like Srila Prabhupada who could really, who was always thinking of how to expand this movement. So even though Srila Prabhupada was earlier Grahastha, but Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, he predicted, he told that maybe I may not be living long enough to see that, but one of my disciple, he will cross all the oceans, and he will propagate this Krishna consciousness even in the Western countries, in the Western world, there where people are completely into the bodily consciousness of life. He will preach even to them, and he will make so many devotees across the world. And by speaking this word, even Prabhupada was not aware that he's talking about him. But one of his disciple, he was standing there, and he could see that while speaking these words, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj was looking at Srila Prabhupada. He could understand that this person, even though right now grahasta, right now engaged into all business activities, he's doing business as well to support his family, has a big family, trying to earn wealth. But this person, he will become, um, he will basically preach this message. So we can't understand that at the time of initiation, one may be at any stage of mind, but if one strictly follow the orders of a spiritual master, he will become completely purified. So one should not be duplicitous. One should not show outwardly that he is a pure devotee and inwardly breaking all the regulative principle or um, doing all nonsense. So if one is sincere, even though in whatever state he is, he will become completely purified. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj could see that even though Srila Prabhupada at that point of time, Abhay Charan Day, is engaged into all business activities, into pharmaceutical business, trying to make money, but he's not duplicitous. He's having full faith on me. He's not showing something externally, internally, which he's not. And he's trying his level best to follow all the regulative principles and chanting Hare Krishna mantra without any duplicity. So he will make progress and he will make the word Krishna conscious. So such a Vaishnava should be accepted as Uttamadhikari, a highly advanced devotee, and his association should always be sought. And we can see just by the association of Srila Prabhupada, so many wonderful devotees are made. So it's not that Prabhupada has done something else, just because of being in his association, being in touch of him, people have become devotee. So the process by which a devotee become attached to Krishna is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. दीक्षा काले भक्त करे आत्मसमर्पण सही काले कृष्ण तारे करे आत्मसम. At the time of initiation, when a devotee fully surrendered to the service of Lord, Krishna accept him to be as good as he himself. So Diksha or spiritual initiation explained in Bhakti Sandarbha by Srila Jiva Goswami, which is Diksha is the process by which one can awaken his transcendental knowledge and vanquish all reaction caused by sinful activities. So because of the sinful activities only, all our knowledge right now is hidden. All our knowledge is covered. Um, and because of that covering only, even though so much of Krishna conscious talks we are listening to, but somehow our intelligence is covered, we'll again goes back to this same circle that okay, let me earn some money, even though I want to do devotional services, but I still have a lot of time. Maybe I'll do it later. So all this covering will get cleared off by this process of Diksha, which awaken this transcendental knowledge and vanquish all reaction caused by sinful activity. So a person expert in the study of the revealed scripture knows this process as Diksha. By Diksha, one gradually becomes disinterested in material enjoyment and gradually become interested in spiritual life. So if one just follow this principle, follow four regulative principle and chant this Hare Krishna mantra 16 round, automatically he will understand his situation in this material world, and by understanding his situation in the material world, he will become disinterested in all the material enjoyment. They will not at all appear palatable to him. We have seen many practical example of this, especially in Europe and America. Many students who come to us from rich and respectable family quickly lose all interest in material enjoyment and become very eager to enter into spiritual life. Why? Because our eternal constitutional position is just to serve Krishna, to remain supremely pure, to offer devotional services to him. So um, any other external uh, material atmosphere or material environment, whether will be put in a very nice bed, very soft bed, very nice house, these all will not give him the pleasure that he can get in devotional service to the Lord. So that's why very many people in the wealthy family or many of children coming from rich family who are having all the opulences, they quickly lose interest in all those opulences or all those comfort of life, and they become very much comfortable in leading a life of Krishna consciousness. So for Krishna's sake, they're prepared to accept any living condition as long as they can live in temple and associate with Vaishnava. So they understand that how much pleasure it is to associate with Krishna and his devotees, to talk about Krishna, to hear his pastimes, to engage himself in reading the scriptures about Krishna. So when one becomes so disinterested in material enjoyment, he becomes fit for initiation by the spiritual master. And then these people only they later took initiation from Srila Prabhupada. So for the advancement of spiritual life, Srimad Bhagavatam prescribed tapasa brahmacharyena samena cha damena cha. When a person is serious about accepting Diksha, he must be prepared to practice austerity, celibacy, and control of the mind and body. So even though one can be in grahastha life, so one may think that what does celibacy and control of mind and body will do in the life of a grahastha. So even though one may be in grahastha life, but he should regulate all his senses. So that means that still he can have sex life, but that sex life is only for begetting Krishna conscious children, not for sense enjoyment. Because if he again do that activity just for the sense enjoyment, then again the same thing, his mind will become corrupted. He will not be able to think of progress in the path of devotional services. So he can have nice Krishna conscious children. That way he can enter grahastha life as well. But then also he should practice austerity. He should also, it's not that because he has not taken brahmacharya, he has not taken sannyas, he is free to do anything. No, still he has to follow rules and regulation. He has to wake up early in the morning, perform mangal arati, do devotion, do listen to the um, Shrimad Bhagavatam, do the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra 16 rounds, then do his household duties, whatever he's doing uh, for his sustenance. Um, and because grahasthas are only allowed to live, so all this Krishna conscious movement is relying on grahastha. So others are like brahmacharis or sannyasis. Brahmacharis and sannyasis are not allowed to earn their livelihood. So if grahastha is earning, he's acting like a father or mother to a sannyasi or grahastha. So he should think of their well-being as well. He should see that grahastha, he should see that the brahmacharis and the sannyasis are properly provided with. They should uh, so even in Vrindavan as well, we can see that all the people who are grahasthas, if brahmacharis or sannyasis, they are coming, they will give them alms or they will give them food. Uh, uh, and that is the principle of Vedic Dharma from time immemorial. So earlier as well, all the grahasthas, before taking their food, uh, they used to go out and they inquire that is anyone hungry near to our house, and if there is someone hungry, some brahmacharis grahas or sannyasis or someone is hungry, then they should be fed first and then grahastha is taking his own food. So grahastha's responsibility is to even ensure that even a lizard on his house is not hungry. So if one is prepared and is desirous of receiving a spiritual enlightenment divya gyan, he is fit for being initiated. Divya Gyan is technically called Tad Vijnanam or knowledge about the Supreme. Tad Vijnanartham Sa Gurum Iva Vigached. That is, when one is interested in the transcendental subject matter of the absolute truth, then he should be initiated. So one should be interested in transcendental subject matter. Such a person should accept a spiritual master in order to take Diksha. Srimad Bhagavatam also described Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jignashu Shreya Uttamas, that one is actually interested in transcendental science of absolute truth, he should approach a spiritual master. So it's not that one should not accept a spiritual master without following his instruction, nor should one accept a spiritual master just to make a fashionable show of a spiritual life. So it's not that one take initiation and then also not chant or not follow for regulative principle and then again go into this cycle of birth and death, because in the last session, like we understood, that it's a spiritual master responsibility to deliver his disciple. If disciple cannot be delivered in one life, then spiritual master has to again come back in this material world or to send his bona fide representative to again claim him back. So like we heard that story of Bill Mangala Thakur, that how again in the next life he was become very accustomed to a prostitute, and then his spiritual master, because in the last birth he has taken initiation, his spiritual master has to speak through that prostitute, saying that the the amount of attachment that you are having for this body, if the same attachment you have for Krishna, then you will return back home, back to Godhead. So spiritual master has to mercifully speak through the prostitute itself. So one should not come to that situation. Um, so when if one has taken initiation, one should be sincere enough to fulfill all his duties in this lifetime and to ensure that he will return back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime, not allowing his spiritual master again to take birth. So one should be Jigyasu, very much inquisitive to learn from the bona fide spiritual master. The inquiries one makes should strictly pertain to the transcendental science. The word Uttamam referred to that which is above material knowledge. So, like I already told, that it should not be that how I should earn more money, whether I should do this business or that business. These are not inquiries to be put forward to a spiritual master. The inquiries with the spiritual master are related with the transcendental subject matter. Tama means darkness of this material mud, and Ut means transcendental. So generally, people are very much interested in inquiring about mundane subject matter. But when one lost such interest and is simply interested in transcendental subject matter, he is quite fit to be initiated. So spiritual master also, he understand that when a disciple is actually ready for initiation, when his subject matters or his queries are related with his spiritual progress, not about some mundane aspect, and then by being pleased by his inquiries, by his services, his spiritual master initiates a person. So that is about Diksha. Anyone can quickly read Preaching is the Essence, and um, then we'll be done for the day. Abhinder Prabhu, you want to read?
Sure, speaking is the essence. The duty of the disciple is to distribute the transcendental message for others' welfare without material motive. The life of a sincere devotee of the Lord is thus explained in a nutshell by Narad Muni by his personal example. Such a devotee, after his initiation by the Lord or his bona fide representative, takes very seriously chanting of the glories of the Lord and traveling all over the world so that others may also hear the glories of the Lord. Such devotees have no desire for material gain. They are conducted by one single desire to go back to go back to Godhead. This awaits them in due course on quitting the material body. Because they have the highest aim of the life, going back to Godhead, they are never envious of anyone, nor are they proud of being eligible to go back to Godhead. Their only business is to chant and remember the holy name, fame, and pastimes of the Lord, and according to personal capacity, to distribute the message for others' welfare without motive of material gain. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.6.20.
Yes.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thanks, Hare Krishna. So we can see the example of Narad Muni, that how after being initiated, he just tread on this mission to propagate Krishna consciousness to everyone. Same is the case with all the bona fide spiritual masters. We can see even about Srila Prabhupada. Um, as soon as he was initiated, he started working on this direction, that how he can fulfill the mission of his spiritual master. His spiritual master has requested him that whenever you have money, print book and preach this message in English language in the Western countries as well, because people in the West, they are becoming completely bodily consciousness, so they don't understand anything beyond this body. So preach to them. And even though they understand that they can go back home, back to Godhead, but they are not envious of other, or they are not being proud that they can go, others cannot go. They try to help others. So if we see one of the letter of Srila Prabhupada written to Rajendra Prasad, he has written that somehow I know how we can go back home, back to Godhead, and it's not a difficult thing. Everyone can go back home, back to Godhead if they follow this process of devotional service, and I can guide them all. And he requested help from many times from the government officials as well to propagate his movement in India, but he didn't got any support. And that without any support from any government or from anyone, just penniless, he traveled to West, and Then he established this Krishna consciousness movement by the mercy of his spiritual master and mercy of Lord. So why he did so much of effort, even though he was aware that he can return back home, back to Godhead? Why? Because he want to help everyone. So they have the highest aim of life, going back to Godhead. They are never envious of anyone, nor are they proud of being eligible to go back to Godhead. Their only business is to chant and remember the holy name, fame and pastime of the Lord, and according to personal capacity to distribute the message for others' welfare without motive of material gain. So whatever was possible for Srila Prabhupada at any stage, he was trying to do that. So initially, when he was a businessman, he was supporting all the Gaudiya mutts that are near to his house financially. Then, when he retired uh, from active family life, then he tried to give his uh, guidance to all the Gaudiya mutts. But later on, he saw that these Gaudiya mutts, they are very much engulfed into fighting with each other, uh, and preaching is somehow being neglected. Then he decided that he will preach on his own because this message of Krishna consciousness should be spread. And then he worked hard to single handedly propagate it to everyone. So, as per everyone's personal capacity, whatever you can do, you may not be able to do anything. You may even sponsor a Bhagavad Gita for others' benefit. You can do that. If you are reading Bhagavad Gita, you can tell this message to others. You can do that. And if you become strong enough by reading all the scriptures, you can become a preacher of Krishna consciousness. You can do that as well. So whatever is one in one's capacity, one should try to do that and then distribute this message for others' welfare. And this is how only this Krishna consciousness can be propagated to everyone. Everyone can take benefit of it because everyone is essentially part and parcel of Krishna, always taking birth and dying, which is not good. So if they are being helped somehow, then Krishna is very much pleased, and we also will become very pleased. So thanks everyone. If anyone is having any questions, they can raise it, or they can drop me a message on WhatsApp if they don't want to raise it publicly, and I will be happy to help you all. Thanks everyone for your time and patience. We'll
Hare
see you all
Krishna,
again
thank you.
next week. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
And tomorrow
Thank
is
you.
like Sunday Love Feast festival, so you all can go and attend and have association of Lord and devotees. Hare Krishna.
Sure. Hare Krishna.